The Grand Assembly Hall of the United Nations was abuzz with tension and murmurs of discontent. Leaders from across the world gathered, their faces etched with concern and defiance as they confronted the latest and most severe challenge to Earth's sovereignty, a set of debilitating sanctions imposed by the Galactic Council. At the center of the hall, General Michael Turner, a seasoned military leader known for his strategic acumen, stood with a stoic demeanor beside the U.S. President and other key figures. Their attention was fixed on the large screen displaying the emblem of the Galactic Council as they awaited the commencement of the virtual assembly. The Secretary-General of the UN, an elderly statesman with decades of diplomatic experience, initiated the session. Esteemed colleagues, today we face an unprecedented threat not just to our economy, but to our very way of life. The Galactic Council's sanctions aim to cripple our advancements in space and technology. President Walsh leaned in, his voice firm and authoritative. These sanctions are not just punitive. They're an attempt to halt our exploration and keep us confined to Earth. We must respond decisively. General Turner nodded in agreement, his gaze sweeping across the room. We've always known the galaxy is not a friendly place, but we've also never backed down from a challenge. It's time to show the Council that Earth cannot be intimidated into submission. From the British delegation, Prime Minister Edwards stood, adjusting his glasses. General Turner is correct. However, we must consider the consequences of escalation. Our response should be measured, yet strong enough to assert our position. The Russian ambassador, a large man with a deep voice, chimed in. Measured, yes, but we must prepare for all eventualities, including military engagement. Our orbital defenses should be on high alert. The Chinese premier added, and let's not overlook alliances within the Council. There are those who sympathize with our plight and may aid us in easing these restrictions. General Turner turned to address the global leaders directly. While diplomacy continues, I recommend immediate activation of our orbital defense units and a review of all interstellar military assets. We should also accelerate the training of our space forces. The French president raised a hand, signaling for attention. General, while I support a strong defense, we must also send a message to the Galactic Council. A proposition for dialogue, perhaps, under the threat of mutual destruction if they refuse. General Turner acknowledged this with a nod. A dual approach, then, strength and diplomacy. We'll prepare for war, but hope for peace. As the meeting progressed, strategies were debated and plans formulated. The urgency of the situation united the leaders in a common cause. Turner, taking notes on his digital pad, was already sending encrypted directives to his staff. The session concluded with the Secretary-General summarizing the resolutions. We stand united against this act of aggression. General Turner, coordinate with our Space Command. Prepare all defensive measures but keep our channels open for negotiations. Turner saluted crisply. Understood. We'll protect Earth at all costs. As the assembly dispersed, the sense of a looming larger conflict hung heavy in the air. General Turner lingered, his mind racing through scenarios of space battles and diplomatic negotiations. Earth was on the brink, and its next actions would define its future among the stars. The chapter closes with Turner stepping out of the United Nations building, looking up at the sky, a clear night revealing the twinkling stars, each a reminder of the vast and hostile galaxy that awaited Earth's response. The command center of Earth's orbital defense station buzzed with low-key urgency. Operators and military personnel monitored screens that tracked objects orbiting Earth and beyond. General Michael Turner strode through the high-tech facility, his presence commanding respect and attention. Report, General Turner demanded, his voice cutting through the hum of activity as he approached the main strategic console. Commander Harris, the station chief, turned to face him, his expression grave. Sir, we've just received a high-priority transmission from the Galactic Council. They're giving us 24 hours to comply with their demands or face corrective measures. General Turner's eyes narrowed as he processed the information. Corrective measures? That's a sanitized way of saying they plan to strike us. Display the message. The room's main screen flickered, and the stern face of the Council's spokesperson appeared. His voice was cold, devoid of emotion. To the leaders of Earth, you have disregarded multiple warnings regarding the expansion and militarization of your space sectors. Comply with all sanctions within one solar day, or face the consequences. This is your final warning. The room fell silent as the message ended. Turner's jaw clenched tightly. He turned to face his team. Prepare to broadcast my response. We need the Council and every member species to understand our stance clearly. Minutes later, General Turner stood before the camera, his uniform impeccable, his demeanor unyielding. To the Galactic Council and its esteemed members, Earth recognizes your concerns. However, we cannot and will not comply with sanctions that undermine our sovereignty and threaten our survival. We are prepared to defend ourselves by any means necessary. As the transmission ended, Turner looked around at his team, his gaze fierce and motivating. I want a status report on all defensive and offensive capabilities. We need to be ready for whatever they throw at us. Commander Harris nodded, immediately relaying orders. All units, this is not a drill. Initiate Protocol Delta. Bring our Aegis platforms online and ensure that the kinetic bombardment defenses are at full readiness. Turner walked over to the tactical map, a large holographic display showing Earth and its surrounding territories in space. Pinpoint every Council warship in proximity. I want them shadowed. Deploy our stealth satellites to feed real-time data. As Earth's orbital defense systems powered up, a palpable tension settled over the station. Outside, the vastness of space loomed, silent and unforgiving. Turner's mind raced through potential strategies, each scenario playing out the possible moves of a seasoned chess player facing an aggressive opponent. Meanwhile, back on Earth, global leaders supported Turner's broadcasted stance, rallying their people and preparing them for the possibility of war. News channels broadcasted emergency procedures, while civilians looked skyward with a mix of fear and defiance. General Turner ended the day at the command center, reviewing incoming intelligence reports and satellite imagery. His commitment was clear: protect Earth at all costs. As the deadline approached, the station remained vigilant, ready to respond to any aggression from the Galactic Council. Turner, standing before the main viewport, watching as satellites and defense drones maneuvered into position against the backdrop of Earth, a blue jewel wrapped in a shield of vigilance. His resolve was as firm as the Earth itself, prepared to meet the dawn of conflict head-on. In the shadow of Earth's moon, the quiet of space was suddenly shattered by the arrival of the Galactic Council's assault fleet. A formidable array of warships emerged from hyperspace, their hulls gleaming ominously under the faint sunlight. Their target: Earth's main orbital defense systems, crucial for the planet's protection. General Michael Turner watched from the command deck of Earth's lunar base as the enemy fleet positioned itself. His expression was one of calm determination, his mind racing through tactical options. Commander Harris, initiate battle stations. Activate all defense grids and prepare our interceptors for launch, Turner ordered, his voice steady despite the looming threat. Roger that, General. Defense grids online, and Squadrons Alpha through Delta are launching now, Harris responded, her hands moving quickly over the holographic controls. On the main tactical display, streams of light represented Earth's response as dozens of interceptor ships sped toward the invading fleet. Turner watched as the first volleys of plasma fire erupted between the opposing forces. The space around the moon turned into a chaotic battlefield, with both sides exchanging heavy fire. Despite the surprise attack, Earth's forces were well prepared. The orbital defense stations, equipped with the latest in energy shield technology, managed to deflect the initial barrage. Meanwhile, Earth's interceptors engaged the Council ships with surprising agility, exploiting their knowledge of the local space terrain. Turner kept his eyes on the battle's progress, issuing commands with precision. Focus fire on their command ship. If we can disrupt their coordination, it'll give us an edge, he directed, pinpointing a massive vessel at the center of the enemy formation. As the battle intensified, a daring maneuver by Earth's pilots turned the tide. Lieutenant Grace, leading the elite Black Comet Squadron, led a high-speed assault that breached the enemy's defenses and struck their command ship. The successful strike caused chaos within the Council's ranks, disrupting their formation. Hit them hard now, all units full assault, Turner commanded, seizing the opportunity. The Earth forces pressed their advantage, and soon the Council's fleet began to falter. Damaged ships retreated, trying to regroup, but the momentum was now with Earth. Turner's strategy of rapid, decisive strikes had paid off, and what was meant to be a crippling blow to Earth became a costly error for the Council. Back on the lunar base, cheers erupted from the crew as they watched the enemy fleet pull back. Turner allowed himself a brief smile, but his mind was already moving to the next phase. We've won this battle, but the war is far from over. Prepare for counterattacks and send damage reports to all units. We need to be ready for whatever comes next, he instructed, his tone leaving no room for complacency. Turner, looking out at the expanse of space from the command deck, the debris of the battle drifting silently. His gaze was resolute, knowing that this victory was but the first in what would be a long and arduous conflict. Earth had stood its ground, but the Galactic Council would not take this defeat lightly. The first strike had been weathered, but the war had only just begun. Following the surprising victory in the first major space battle, Earth's sense of urgency intensified. General Michael Turner, situated now at Earth's Global Defense Headquarters, orchestrated a worldwide mobilization effort. The initial success had galvanized the planet's resolve, but Turner knew that sustaining momentum was crucial. In the war room, filled with maps of Earth and its outer colonies, Turner stood before a gathering of military leaders and defense ministers. The walls were lined with digital screens, showing live feeds from shipyards and training facilities. "Let's use this momentum," Turner began, his voice commanding the room's attention. "We need every available resource pushed towards expanding our fleet and fortifying our positions. This is a total war effort now." Minister Chen, overseeing planetary defenses, responded, "Our shipyards are operating at full capacity, General. We're also retrofitting commercial vessels with weaponry where appropriate. It's all hands on deck." Turner nodded in approval. "Good. I want updates on production targets every 6 hours. We can't afford any delays." Meanwhile, on Mars Colony, a massive recruitment drive was underway. Young men and women lined up in droves, ready to defend their homes and the Earth. Training camps had been established rapidly, turning civilians into soldiers with efficiency that only dire necessity could fuel. "Training protocols are accelerated but without compromising combat readiness," reported Colonel Ramirez, who was in charge of the Martian training facility. "We're also integrating more combat simulations based on the tactics used in the recent engagement." Back on Earth, Turner visited one of the major spaceports, where the next generation of warships was nearing completion. Engineers and workers, driven by a mix of fear and fierce patriotism, worked around the clock under the glow of arc welders and floodlights. As Turner walked through the construction bay, he approached a group of engineers overseeing the assembly of a particularly large battleship. "How are we looking here?" he asked, examining the schematics displayed on a nearby holotable. Lead Engineer Dawson wiped the sweat from his brow and smiled. "Ahead of schedule, General. The new Dreadnought class, she'll be space-worthy within the week. She packs enough firepower to take on a Council battleship head-on." "That's what I like to hear," Turner said, clapping Dawson on the shoulder. "Keep pushing. Earth needs more like her." The chapter also highlights scenes of civilian support, with communities sending off their sons and daughters with tearful goodbyes and homemade banners. Schools converted into emergency hospitals, and tech companies pivoted to producing war material, from drones to laser munitions. General Turner addressed the nation in a broadcast, standing before the newly completed Dreadnought, its hull imposing and resilient against the night sky. "This ship," he declared, "symbolizes our unity and determination. We are not just defending Earth. We are fighting for our future among the stars. Let the Galactic Council take heed. Humanity will not be subdued." His words resonated across the globe, stealing the hearts of billions. Earth was no longer just reacting. It was asserting itself as a formidable force in the galaxy, ready to do whatever it took to preserve its freedom and way of life. The Asteroid Belt, a strategically critical zone rich in resources, became the next major battleground in the escalating conflict between Earth and the Galactic Council. The belt's rocky expanse provided not only essential minerals, but also a tactical advantage for controlling space traffic between the inner and outer solar systems. Recognizing its importance, General Michael Turner personally oversaw the operation from the command ship, the newly christened Dreadnought Resolute. As the Resolute and its accompanying fleet maneuvered into position among the tumbling rocks and ice of the belt, Turner surveyed the holographic battle map projected in front of him. "All units, maintain formation and keep your scanners active. The Council's fleet could be cloaked," he instructed, his voice echoing through the fleet's communication channels. Captain Lee, commander of the destroyer Vanguard, responded from her position on the flank. "Understood, General. We're sweeping with active pulses. Any cloaked ship will light up like a comet tail." The first sign of the enemy was subtle, a slight distortion in the debris field caught by the keen sensors of the Vanguard. "Contact. Bearing 214 Mark 6, Captain Lee reported, her voice tense but controlled. "Engage with caution, Vanguard. All ships, focus fire on that quadrant," Turner ordered, his eyes fixed on the shifting images on the map. The battle erupted in earnest, a deadly dance of laser fire and evasive maneuvers among the asteroids. Earth's ships, built for agility, darted between larger rocks, using them as cover, while delivering precise volleys at the exposed Council vessels. One of Turner's innovations, remote-controlled drone fighters, proved particularly effective. Released in swarms, they overwhelmed the Council's older, slower ships, exploiting weak points in their armor. Amid the chaos, a Council dreadnought emerged from behind a large asteroid, its guns blazing. Turner, ever the strategist, had anticipated such a move. "Now, deploy the railguns," he commanded calmly. The Resolute's side panels opened, revealing the massive railguns that had been Earth's technological gamble, a weapon that could punch through nearly any armor at a significant range. With a thunderous vibration felt throughout the ship, the railguns fired, sending high-density projectiles at incredible speeds. The enemy dreadnought took a direct hit, its shields shattering under the assault before its hull ruptured, sending debris spiraling into space. Cheers broke out across the Resolute's bridge, quickly stifled as Turner reminded everyone, "Stay focused. This isn't over yet." The battle continued for hours, with both sides taking losses. But the superior tactics and technology of Earth's forces gradually tipped the scales in their favor. By the end of the engagement, the remains of the Council fleet were retreating, leaving behind the valuable belt now firmly under Earth's control. Exhausted yet exhilarated, Turner stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching as the last of the enemy ships vanished into hyperspace. "Secure the area and begin salvage operations. We'll need everything we can get," he ordered, already thinking ahead to the repairs and resupply. Turner looking out at the battered but victorious fleet, the debris of destroyed ships floating around them. The victory was a significant boost to Earth's morale and resources, but the general knew that it was just one more step in a long journey toward securing Earth's place in the galaxy. In the aftermath of their significant victory in the asteroid belt, General Michael Turner and Earth's military command recognized the opportunity to shift from defense to offense. With the enemy still reeling from their losses, Turner conceived a bold plan to undermine the Galactic Council's war capabilities directly by striking at their supply lines and communication networks. The operation, codenamed Silent Thunder, involved a covert infiltration into enemy territory. Turner selected Captain Alex Mercer, one of Earth's most skilled Special Forces commanders, to lead the mission. Mercer, known for his stealth and precision, assembled a diverse team of specialists for the task. "Listen up, team," Mercer briefed his squad in the dim light of their stealth craft as it hurtled through hyperspace. "Our target is the Council's fuel depot on Zeta Prime. We take out their fuel, and we cripple their fleet's mobility. This is a hit and run. In and out before they know what hit them." The team nodded, understanding the risks. The mission required slipping past enemy patrols to plant high-yield explosives at the depot, located on a lightly defended moon orbiting a gas giant in enemy space. As they approached Zeta Prime, the craft's pilot, Lieutenant Kara Singh, maneuvered them into the shadow of a passing comet, masking their approach. "We're on final approach. Going dark in 3, 2, 1, Singh whispered, shutting down all non-essential systems to avoid detection. The landing was smooth, the moon's barren landscape providing little cover. Mercer and his team quickly disembarked, moving with practiced silence across the rocky ground. They used handheld devices to jam enemy sensors as they neared the depot. "2 guards on the northeast tower. I'll take them," whispered Specialist Jensen, the team's sniper. Moments later, the guards slumped silently, neutralized. Reaching the depot, they worked quickly to set the charges. Mercer checked his watch, counting down. 5 minutes to exfil. Let's wrap it up." Just as they were about to retreat, an alarm blared. Somehow, they had been detected. "Change of plans, team. Move to secondary exfil point. We're going hot," Mercer barked, leading his team in a sprint as enemy forces began to converge on their location. The explosion that tore through the fuel depot lit up the night sky, a fiery declaration of Earth's newfound offensive capabilities. Mercer and his team fought their way to the extraction point, where Singh skillfully piloted their craft out of the danger zone under heavy fire. Back on the Resolute, General Turner received the mission report with a grim nod. "Well done, Mercer. Get your team ready for debrief. You've given us more than just a victory. You've given us leverage." Turner reviewing the galaxy map, marking new targets, his mind already racing with the possibilities this successful raid opened up. Earth was no longer just surviving. It was taking the fight to the enemy, proving that humanity would not be easily subdued or forgotten in the galactic theater. With a series of tactical victories, including the daring raid on Zeta Prime, the morale among Earth's forces soared. General Michael Turner, now viewed not just as a leader, but as a symbol of Earth's defiance and ingenuity, coordinated the next phase of operations from Earth's Global Defense Headquarters. His strategy aimed to consolidate Earth's gains and push further into contested space. The war room buzzed with activity as Turner and his senior staff reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Our recent operations have caused significant disruptions in the Council's logistics network, Turner noted, pointing to the holographic map displaying key strategic locations. It's time we take advantage of this. I want to initiate Operation Starfall. We'll target their command centers and communication hubs. Admiral Patel, overseeing space operations, responded, "We have the fleet in position near the Orion sector. We can launch a full-scale offensive within the week. Our new hypervelocity missiles should give us the edge we need." Meanwhile, the Galactic Council, in a state of disarray from the unexpected ferocity and sophistication of Earth's campaign, scrambled to respond. Leaks and dissent within the Council's ranks created opportunities that Earth's intelligence services exploited to sow further discord and confusion. On the diplomatic front, Turner appointed Ambassador Leo to approach neutral systems, leveraging the shifting sentiment against the Council's aggressive policies. "We need allies, or at the very least, we need to break the unity of the Council. Every crack we can introduce weakens them further," Turner instructed Liu during a secure comlink meeting. As Earth's fleets moved into position, skirmishes broke out along the border regions. Each battle was carefully chosen, designed not just to win territory, but to test the Council's responses and tactics. Captain Mira Raj, commanding the destroyer Vigilant, led a series of hit-and-run attacks that confused and demoralized the enemy forces. Back on Earth, public support for the war effort was bolstered by media coverage of the successful missions and the stories of heroism and sacrifice. Turner made it a point to attend briefings with families of service members, ensuring the human element of the conflict was honored and not just the strategic gains. As Operation Starfall launched, Earth's forces struck hard and fast against multiple targets across the Orion sector. The Council's command centers reeled under the assault, their communication lines severed, and their ability to coordinate diminished. In the war room, Turner watched as reports of their successes came in. He allowed himself a rare smile. "This is what we trained for," he said to his staff. "Keep pushing. Today we turn the tide." Turner, standing before a large window in the headquarters, looking up at the stars. His thoughts were with his forces out there in the darkness, bringing light to each corner they touched, his resolve as firm as ever. Earth was no longer just defending. It was asserting its place in the galaxy, and at this moment, the tide of war was indeed turning. Earth's forces surround the once impregnable Galactic Council headquarters. A massive space station orbiting a neutral planet, it had served as the diplomatic and command center for the Council's vast territories. General Michael Turner, aboard the flagship Resolute, commanded the siege, his strategic acumen having guided Earth to the brink of a historic victory. As the Resolute hovered ominously outside the station's defense perimeter, Turner communicated with his senior commanders. "This is the moment we've been working towards. Secure the station with minimal damage and casualties. We're here to end a war, not to start another," he directed with a clear, resolute voice. The operation commenced with precision. Special Forces teams, including Captain Alex Mercer's unit, deployed in tactical shuttles, breached the station's weaker access points. The Galactic Council's security forces, demoralized and outgunned, offered little resistance. Within hours, Earth's troops had control of the station, and Turner's message to the galaxy was ready to broadcast. Standing in the Council's main assembly chamber, Turner faced multiple cameras, his image being transmitted across countless worlds. "Today marks a new beginning," he began, his voice echoing in the vast, now silent hall. "Earth sought peace and was met with hostility. In our quest for security, we found ourselves in a war that spanned the galaxy. Let this victory not be a sign of Earth's dominion, but a call for a true, lasting peace among all civilizations." As his speech transmitted, reactions varied wildly across the galaxy. Some worlds cheered, seeing Earth as a liberator from the Council's overreach. Others viewed the new power dynamics with apprehension. But all knew that Earth had emerged as a major galactic force. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted in every city. Turner, however, remained at the Galactic Council station, overseeing the transition. His next steps involved setting up a provisional governance structure until a new, more inclusive Galactic Assembly could be established. Admiral Patel approached Turner as he finished coordinating relief supplies to war-stricken areas. "General, you've done what many thought impossible. What will you do now?" she asked, looking out at the stars. Turner paused, his eyes reflecting the weight of his responsibilities. We rebuild, we unify, and we make sure that no one, human or alien, ever experiences the horrors of such a conflict again. Our work has just begun. The chapter, and thus the story, concludes with Turner reviewing the new galactic map, his vision clear and his resolve unwavering. Earth had not only defended its right to exist and thrive, but had also taken on the mantle of leadership, promising to forge a future where cooperation and peace were the cornerstones of interstellar relations. Under his leadership, humanity would work tirelessly to heal the wounds of war and build bridges where walls had once stood.